Hello. Thank you very much for joining me for this deck casual of this lovely deck. How's that? And you can actually see it is in Italian. I am not going to butcher Italian. So for those of you who are Italian or speak Italian, please read your screen now. For those of you who do not read Italian, feel free to mispronounce this on your own. So I am thrilled to be talking about this lovely little deck. And for this deck casual, and joining me is the lovely Ben from Beneficial Tarot.
Hello.
Hi, Ben. Thank you for joining
Hello.
me.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And I'm also joined by the lovely Brian from Blushing Nerd Tarot.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Great to be here.
So thank you both
Yay.
very much for joining me.
Welcome.
And I have to say, I have forgotten how this one got started because I think, Ben, I saw you had it. Brian, did you say you? I
Yep.
think in separate conversations, and it's like, wait a minute, let's do a deck casual about this lovely little gem. So
The magic can happen.
the magic can happen. Ben, how did you come across this lovely little deck?
I was watching a video by Lisa Pepez and she had it on her channel. I was like, oh, I like the look of that because I love the look of vintage looking decks. And I was like, oh, I'll have to take a gander at that. So it actually sold out on the website that she'd put on the thing. So
Yes, it did.
I found, luckily I found it somewhere else. And I got a little bit of a FOMO moment because I thought, oh, well, if I don't get it, it might go out of stock. But since then, they're doing a 4th edition, so it's not out of stock. But
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And Brian, how did you come across this little gem?
I saw it on a couple of people did walkthroughs, and I kind of fell in love with it. Was the first time I heard, not to spoiler alert, that sound. This cardstock, just it's like I think it's a laid paper, I think they call it, which is why it has that texture to it. Anyway, I heard people on walkthroughs shuffling it, and I was like, oh, I need to have that deck. And so much like Ben, I hunted it down. I tried to go to websites with links, totally out of stock. So I ended up finding a copy on eBay that was still sealed, and I was like just thrilled. So
That's lucky.
Yeah, but I found out, and I meant to send you a link to this earlier so we could include it, but I just got an email from the main store that sells this in the US. I can't remember.
TarotArts.com.
TarotArts.com has it in stock now. They just restocked. So
link is below. Please purchase responsibly. Know your limits. So, but yeah. So you saw. Now I came across this because we have a place here called Half Price Books, and Half Price Books sells things at half price, sometimes even less expensive. And I went because a friend of mine sent me there because her father makes wooden boxes, and actually made a wooden box for a friend who wanted for a tarot box. And I found out that he had passed away, and so his cards were sent to Half Price Books. And so I actually went, and Half Price Books, Ben, it's just like a bookstore. Most everything is used, but sometimes they have things, first editions, higher price things behind the glass in locked doors. So I was going over and I was looking, and actually this is one that I purchased from there, and I actually have the box, the sister box to this, because when Paul makes boxes, he makes 2 of them. So I had to have that. But I was going around and I was looking, and I I saw this curious little thing in one of the boxes. It had a hefty price tag on it, behind the glass, and I'm like, I need to look at this. And we'll put it this way: the person stood there with me, next to me, watching me as I was flipping through the deck. So it was like,
Yeah.
it was like, okay, this is, and I saw it, I felt it. I was like, I'm like, please take this up to the front. I need this.
Yeah,
I was just like going, I need this.
It's got a unique feel, hasn't it, to it? It's like
Yes.
it's how I would expect them to. Well, it was how they were done years ago, wasn't it? I'm guessing it's like a vintage feel. Yeah.
So, everybody sees purchase responsibly. Know your limits. Also, please like and subscribe to all of my guest channels. And let's say hi to some people. Kelly, Dozen Cats for Me, Oracles, Wellness, and Tarot, is actually having a live right now as we have our live. So, oops. But I'm going to be watching her playback. So,
yep.
Beth is here.
Hi, Beth.
And funsies on a Sunday afternoon or evening or morning. Yes. Rosemary is here. Good Journeys Tarot. And I will be with, here, spoiler alert. I'm with Rosemary on Sunday. She's going to be on my channel for a casual. We're talking about her 78 cards in 78 weeks, and we're just talking about other stuff. So that'll be fun. Yes. Okay, I have to see. After that intro, no coffee required. Well, Ben created the graphics. Thank you.
That is a great intro.
Do what?
That is a great intro.
Oh, thank you. Ben created it. I had to change the sound. So
the sound, I like your sound a lot better. I think it's pretty funky.
Well, Ben, bless his heart. I'm like, any chance you could do a intro for me? And he did, and I got copyright restriction on him. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to take away the sound. Do that. So, Jonathan, hello. Early Ritual is here.
Jonathan.
Hello. Good to see you. Thank you, Rosemary. Rosemary has put your link in, Brian.
Oh, thank you.
So, and I believe that's Ben's link.
Oh, yes.
So,
thank you, Rosemary.
Oh, look, Nancy Paper Moon Tarot said this is probably my favorite tarot deck. Thanks for covering it, Gerald. Well, stay tuned and make sure you chat too. So, Jonathan's birthday is next week, and so is next month. So, what's that have to do with me, Jonathan? Do tell. Justin Michael is here, and this is Justin Michael's one of his favorite decks. And Justin, I was trying to see if you had done a review about this. I know Masha has, but it's you pronounced it correctly, Brian, the Il
Meneghello, I believe.
Il Meneghello, and really amazing decks. So, and actually, yes. I think it was probably Justin who got me involved in that. So, oh, look, Queen Elizabeth I, Chrissy Hind from the Pretenders. Well, of course, Chrissy Hind is from the Pretenders. Do you know the Pretenders, Ben?
Yes, it's an 80s group, early 80s.
They are a timeless group, Ben. Let's correct that. They have made music for decades. Ooh,
here's a little piece of trivia. So Chrissy Hind is from my area. She used the town name that is very close to me in one of her songs, and she opened a vegan restaurant nearby. It's now closed, but it was open for probably 6 or 7 years in the early 2000s, and it was delicious. And I saw her there once. I didn't meet her, but I saw her. So kind of a brush with fame, I guess.
That's more than a brush with fame. That's a freaking, let's make a painting of it.
It was pretty neat.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's
Debbie Aquarius Owl is here. Hello, Debbie. I
Hey,
hope
Debbie.
your eyeball is good. Not saying anything else. I just realized. I have to be honest. I thought for the longest time that Le Corte was historic deck. It's actually a modern deck made in a historic style. Thank
I
you for
thought that.
saying that, Justin.
Yes, I
Well,
actually
in
thought
it,
it was historic.
yeah, and in
'Cause it
and
feels.
below there's some links. I actually have linked the artists. The artist who Anna Maria, again, I'm not going to butcher her name. It has a website. It's linked below, and it's a beautiful. I think the cards are beautiful, and yes, I'll show you the cards here in a little bit. So, well, you did see them in concert back in the day. I think that's like awesome. So, but anyhow, so all right. Okay, everybody take a sip. What are you drinking, Brian?
Ginger tea for me today.
Very nice. I'm having iced coffee with not quite enough cream in it. So,
How about you, Ben?
I've gone back to the 80s and I'm drinking cherry Coke.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Nice.
A bit of 80s going on there.
Very nice. So, do we each have the same version of the deck? This is the 3rd edition.
That is.
And it comes in this glorious box. And these are handmade items. And Ben, you got a piece of paper that actually said these cards are handmade, so any imperfections are part of the process.
This item is created by hand.
Brian got it too.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
gonna put Brian. I'm gonna
not that it wants to focus
that to Brian.
There we go.
Oh, that's it.
So,
yeah. But Gerald, we spoke about this just before because you've got another piece of paper, haven't you, that I haven't got in mine about the artist. Have you got that, Brian, in yours?
The only other thing I have in mine is my number card.
Me too.
Okay. Ooh, let's show off. What number do you have? What number do you have?
Well, looks like 1581.
1472.
I have 188. So mine is early in
yes,
that.
It is.
So
yeah, you early bird, you.
Right.
All somebody had to do was die and have family not understand what they had and sell it.
Yeah.
So
and guys, we found this out because Gerald, you've got that piece of paper which tells you about the artist, but your font is different to mine. Is yours similar?
They must have changed it.
They must have changed it. Yeah.
Yeah, me and Brian then have got a very similar edition without that piece of paper. Then does that make sense?
Yeah.
Debbie said, birds. I think this deck is beautiful, and it is a wish list deck for me, but it's a little spendy. And Chris Yao turned Justin Michael onto this deck, Barely Balanced Tarot, Chris Yao, and Justin's running around, so everybody, he says hello. Chris Yao is the one who actually pointed out that tarotarts.com has copies of it. They have run another edition of 2000. Yep. So when we say these are handcrafted decks, we mean they are handcrafted decks. So, and Ben is smelling it. Ben is smelling a box.
Has been, I haven't deck sniffed this one in a while. It's very pleasantly papery, just
yes.
Yeah,
you're right, Brian.
All of these decks come with the stamp, and so hi Naomi Hewitt.
The little,
and they're all different.
And I have to say it was one of those things that I saw this and I'm like, ooh, yeah. So, and Ben was saying I did get an extra piece of paper which talked about the artist. So I'm not going to read that for people, but it just says in this this work, the artist takes us into a bygone era. The characters, their clothes, and setting us back in the Middle Ages. So there's that, and so lovely little deck. And Nancy says with art paper, I don't really shuffle and use it. I just admire the art. And so let's. So we all have the second version, and this is your typical. Oh, Naomi has 304 out of 400. Naomi, is yours the
Oh.
majors only, or is it an actual? Is it the full deck? So this is what how it is. It's a narrow and tall deck. It's the first one like it that I've seen. So compared to the standard or the traditional RWS.
I'm actually quite surprised at that, Gerald, when you look at it, because you do think it's actually longer, don't you, when you've got it? Because I didn't realize it's not that much taller than a normal standard tarot card, then, is it really?
Right. Yeah, it does feel like it should be like almost twice as long when you're holding it.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
It does not come with a guidebook, and the card stock. Okay, Brian, you already talked about you know, it's a very sensual experience.
Indeed.
when you're doing that. The cards themselves, when you hold them, it's a handmade deck, so it's not perfectly lined up. And to be honest with you, I didn't even really notice that when I was shuffling them.
No.
It was just like, okay. So, okay, Naomi said hers is majors only, she thinks. So, okay, here's the back. The back looks like the top of the box, so the backs are not reversible. Jonathan said it. Oh, Naomi said addition to is 2A is that second. Okay. Oh, Jonathan said Lost Tarot is tall and thin like that. Makes it hard to shuffle. Okay, let's talk about shuffling. Do you shuffle? How do you shuffle this deck?
Overhand only for me.
Okay. Ben has frozen.
Yep.
He's looking longingly in the direction of your hat.
Yes, I know. We'll send you a hat, Ben, if it'll bring you back to this realm.
And by the way, please notice this is from me to Ben to Brian. This is the progression of facial hair.
Yep.
There you go.
This is our public service to you,
yes,
the public. Yep.
Yep. So, so you overhand shuffle. Do you overhand shuffle it this way, or do you shuffle it long ways?
This is one of the few that I do long ways. And I know a lot of people tend to do that anyway, but for some reason it just feels right with this one. How about you?
I actually hold on to your hat. I riffle shuffle.
I'm tempted to, especially now that they're back in print. I want to buy another set and just keep it as a backup.
Yeah. That being said, it is one of those. It's a thick deck. I mean, so it's a thick deck. Again, I would say, so it's so I riffle shuffle it, and I bent, I think, the Queen of Batons a little bit. So then I stopped riffle shuffling, and then I overhanded. But there's a lot of different ways to shuffle it.
Yeah.
So, Ben, how do you shuffle it?
Overhand.
Overhand.
Yeah.
And do you do narrow, or do you do this way?
I do it. Yeah, I do it. Yeah, that way, not narrow. So it's like like that. Because it's a difficult one to shuffle, actually, isn't it? This one. It's Was it you, Gerald, said you'd riffle shuffled, or you tried riffle shuffling?
I did. I riffle shuffled, and I slightly bent, I think, the Queen of Batons, and but see, the thing is when I actually laid it out and sort of went like that, I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
So I took a break. Justin says he has 767 out of 2,000. So
an early bird as well.
So I think it's just, it's all good. Yeah, they're real people. Shuffle gently. Yep.
I was reading actually about this deck, and they were saying that it's more of a collector's deck, isn't it? Than because of the way it's produced, it's done in such a way that it's probably not one you'd want to use too often. I mean, it doesn't matter, does it? But I think they
Yeah.
class it more as a collector's thing.
I think
don't
so.
they?
Yeah, it's really, I'm on the fence about that because I feel like I definitely feel like it has that feel of a collector's item that you want to sort of revere it and put it on a shelf and bring it out to look at it every once in a while. But I feel like working with it is really when that artist's expression comes to life, and it's a pretty magical thing, almost
Yeah.
because it has that difference to it, you know.
Yeah, feels
Mhm.
vintage, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Feels old.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really amazing. So it is it's 78 cards. So we have your majors, and they are pip style. How did I describe it? I described it in the description. It's pip style with decorated backgrounds for the minors. So, and I know that's, what the heck does that mean? We'll show you in a little bit. So I couldn't say no to make playing cards version. I felt I could manhandle, or I wouldn't say no to a make playing cards version. I have to say it better be a linen finish for me.
Oh
if,
yeah.
If it's if it's mass produced, but I hope they never mass produce it. Okay, so it's in Italian. So batons or wands. So, and it's not really a Marseille style. Is that right, Justin? It's not a Marseille style, but it's a pip deck. It's Denari, which I believe is pentacles. Copa or Copi, Coppe, which are cups, and spades, which are swords. And once you look at them, you can get a feel for them in the sense. The major, as we go through, it's one of those things. It's the traditional naming of the deck. You have the high priest, the high priestess, the pepess, or whatever. So it's that. So Tony said it's a big collector deck for those who want Ilmela touch on it. I'm glad his daughter is producing it again, though. Yeah, I agree. Pip deck, I think, is good. It's very unique. Mm-hmm.
Can I ask as well, guys? I don't know whether you know this. What's the English? What's that translated into English? Then the title. Does anybody
Court
know?
of Tarot.
Yep.
Court of Tarot. The Court of Tarot.
Well.
So, and I know that by watching several videos. I do not speak Italian. So,
you look Italian though with your moustache.
No,
or is
if that were true, it would be thinner and longer, and I would be wearing a three-piece suit, and it would be white, and I would have goons around me.
You definitely haven't got goons around you.
Well,
definitely not from that side. Maybe from this side.
Nope.
No goons. No goons. Strength is number 11, and justice is number 8.
Yeah.
So that's something to keep in mind. And for those of you who are keeping score at home, thanks to Mark Astro Tarot, I look at this directional facing people. There are 8 that face left. There are 15 that face center. There are 12 that face right, and there are 5 that are mixed. So,
that's interesting, Gerald. I always find that really interesting.
Me too.
Yeah. There are no extra cards in it. So, so what we will do is we will let's talk about some of the decks or some of the images that we like, and I'm going to flip Brian and Ben. And Ben, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah.
Or do you want me to start, since it's my show and I probably have more?
You start then, because if you've got more, that's fine.
Okay. Avert your
this
gaze.
Keeps the progression of the facial hair correct anyway. I feel like
it does.
That's true.
Probably ought to maintain that. We wouldn't want to confuse people.
Yes. I have La Papessa, the High Priestess.
I was
Number
just going to
2,
choose that one, Gerald, as well. That was
On
my
my list.
first.
you missed your
Yeah.
chance. So, and the reason that I like this card is, first of all, she's dressed great. She has a book. I love the owl. I think the owl is a very nice
Yes.
addition to that. And I like how this is the geek in me. I like how when you look at the book, we have these nice little details here of, it's like on the binding. It's there. So hi, Wendy. Thank you, Wendy.
Hi, Wendy.
Wendy said, have a great week, everyone. Gerald, Ben, and Brian.
And Jonathan's heading to the beach.
Of course
Have a
he
good time,
is.
Jonathan.
How wonderful.
Yes. Make sure you don't get sunburnt.
That's right.
So,
Well,
and Beth said that art reminds me of tapestries you see hanging in castles. Love
that's a
it.
good point.
Yes.
And this is the and what's nice about this is she has she has confidence about herself.
Yes.
So Naomi said this photographs really beautifully. So does anybody know if it's all original paintings or if there are some collage going on here? Nancy asked. It is, I believe, all original.
That's my understanding.
All original by the artist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Confidence, but not ignorant or arrogance.
Yeah.
So anything either of you would like to add about this lovely card?
I just wanted to say I absolutely love the detail on the outfit, because you've got all these little crescent moons there, and I thought that was really cool. But yeah, I love the owl, like you said, Gerald. I think it's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, and the little owl is in the moon. How cool is that?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go ahead, Brian.
Oh, I was just going to say, ask if either of you know the significance of the 9 flowers on the tree.
Well, it's interesting, Brian, because I was thinking about this. You know, like on the traditional RWS,
Yep.
It feels like these are in the magician card, doesn't it? Over yet here they're in the Pepes card, and they did mean something in the magician card. It's like bountiful, isn't it? I was trying to remember what it meant, but I just thought, yeah, it's interesting that they're on the Pepes card, you know.
Yep, and there is traditionally such a link between those two that that I can understand why they would make a choice to use symbols from either to fit their artwork. But yeah, just there's so much. We're only on card number 1.
Yeah. Beth said, for some reason, I love the fallen leaves on the ground.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Justin Michael said, I feel a variety of influences in this deck, but the pips especially feel like Sufi Islamic influence. That very astute. Yes, I agree with you. I do not know of the significance, or if there is a significance of the 9 flowers. So are those flowers on the quilt of the 9 of Swords on the traditional RWS?
Oh,
I don't know.
They possibly are.
Yeah.
They're
very
somewhere,
nice.
aren't they? Yeah.
So, all right, Ben, you're up, sir.
So, the next one, and actually, I just noticed Naomi's had the same thoughts that I had. The Hanged Man. I love this because I love these little birds that are kind of holding him up here. I think it's so cute. And the one thing I like about this, because you know, normally when you look at the Hanged Man, he doesn't look very happy. He looks quite upset about his predicament. Whereas this feels like a more happier scene to me. And I don't see the Hanged Man as a negative card at all, because it's all about looking at things from a different perspective. And I think this is kind of like a happy card, and it kind of depicts that in this, which I really love. And it's almost like the little birds there are helping him to see things from that different perspective. And I just think that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's why I like that one.
Yeah, and I agree. Brian, was this one of your favorites too?
It absolutely. Yep. And the little birds are, I mean, that was one of my first favorite things about this deck in general, is just those little birds. They're just a fantastic detail. And it does, it draws out any of what, maybe newcomers to tarot would think of with the Hanged Man. I think those birds just make that evaporate. Any negativity just is kind of pulled out by that.
Yeah. It's beautiful. I also love it. I love the youthful approach on the hanged man. I mean, and let's put it this way: walking down the street with the hands behind the back,
right?
And I think the idea of that the birds are holding him up is just is fun. I like that. And Calla Lizzie is here. Hello, Calla Lizzie. And
Lizzie.
Early Ritual said, this is a deck I've really wanted, but I'm afraid I will never use it, so I haven't pulled the trigger yet. Hashtag know your limits. But it's available in a run of 2,000. Nancy said the birds are so cute in this one. They really are. I mean, it's just like, holy mackerel. So, but yeah, excellent. Brian.
I'm going to jump out of the majors for a moment.
Please.
But the majors are really so fun in this. But Two of Cups for me is one of my favorites. And because it has the extra illustration, of course, there's more to like about this. And I apologize. For some reason, my camera just doesn't seem to want.
I got it.
Oh, there we go. And I can even show.
Yeah.
But I really love the way that this lays out the cups, and the two specifically, as you have a choice here. And I just I think this was just a really fun way to illustrate that concept.
Yes. Yeah.
And we have the directionality here too.
And this is one of the minors that actually has a person is a prominent feature in that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, Naomi, those fingers are long, but it's okay.
They look like a fork, don't they, actually?
They do.
So yeah. I love that. Yeah. And
does anybody know what these symbols mean at the top at all? Because they are quite prominent. Some of these symbols are on some of the minor arcana, and I didn't know if they were actually meant something. Or is Justin Michael still there? Maybe he knows.
I was thinking it was just a scroll work as a decoration.
But okay,
that is me.
It's just I think it's on the. Sorry, guys. It's on the pentacles. They just look like they mean something, don't they?
They could.
I don't know.
Nancy, Paper Moon Tarot said, it's like he's about to ping the glass to see if it's crystal.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Hi, Karen Robinson.
And is this the magician's table,
Oh, that's a good point, Brian. Yeah.
Because there's the magician.
But he's draped something over it, and
Yep.
That's very interesting.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
I do love the calligraphy too.
Yeah. It's a tuning fork, Naomi was saying.
Yes.
I am actually going to jump to Death. I think Death. This is just a great card. In looking at this, you have the face, the scythe. You've got body parts that are hanging around, and it's just like, well, okay. And it's almost like Death is really taking a good swing at things. It's like, whack.
Yeah.
So, and what is interesting is at the bottom here, there's a crown. So there's a crown. And so we cannot tell if this is a rich person or a pauper or what else. So, oh, Justin Michael came through. 9 months for a child, 9 moons. You give a person 9
Oh,
roses
of
to
course.
symbolize eternal love.
Oh, well done,
Of
Justin.
course. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. Awesome.
That's so
If I had
interesting.
my, yeah, here you go. Well done, Justin. Boom. He got it. Round of applause. Love that. That's the most chic death card I think I've ever seen. Must just come from, must have just come from a Milan fashion show.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I love that crown as well at the bottom. Like, you know,
Mhm.
it doesn't matter if you're a king, you're always going to meet death, aren't you?
Everybody
Mhm.
dies. So, yes. Yeah. So, all right. Ben, what do you have?
Right, hang on. Just find me cards. Yeah. So this was the other one. I really like the moon card. And I love this because it depicts all the phases of the moon here.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it kind of looks like the sun in the background, doesn't it? But I think it's obviously the moon. But I just like the fact that it depicts that. It seems very traditional to me. It's very similar. But yeah, I just love the.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It looks like a happy little moon as well, doesn't it?
It does.
But interesting. There doesn't appear to be. You've got the towers at the side still, but it does. Is this water? I'm guessing it is water that this.
Believe so.
Well, I would believe so because the shellfish.
Yeah. But yeah, I just think I love the artwork, like the eyes on the even like the everyone's got like really interesting eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Justin said, looks like hieroglyphics in reference to the other card that you were mentioning,
Yeah,
Ben.
the pentacles and that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does to me. It looks like means something, doesn't it?
So it does stick with the idea in the RWS that we have with that, you know, the rays. So there's there's an element there that they're pulling in.
I sort of am. I'm not necessarily a fan of the face in the moon, and so this was sort of in my pile of okay. What I really do like is I like the inclusion of all of the phases. I think that is. I'd love to see that in more cards, in more moons.
Definitely.
So I think that's
really
I
would, Gerald.
Yeah,
definitely.
Robin is here, Toadstool Tarot. Hello, Robin.
Hi, Robin.
So yeah. So, Brian, would you like to go next, or you want me to go again?
I've got it. So my next one is the Hermit card. And there are a few different things that I really enjoy about this one. Once there we go. I love the fact that, so first of all, just the posture and the element of a path here with the Hermit coming away from civilization, coming away from that little village and carrying something that could be a lantern or that could be a bottle, you know, or maybe it's both. You know, I mean, there's just something about it there that I love the mood of this card. I feel like you get that dark gray sky and there's just something about it. He's carrying that source of light and going off in his own direction. And I believe he's meant to be whistling.
Yes,
look at how I picture it.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And the hood's not drawn up over his head, you know, so it's not like it doesn't give you that feel that he's fighting some sort of, awful weather or, you know, any of that sort of thing. He's just off on his journey and that's it. And whistle while you work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very good point. Very good point.
I love that.
Looks like a moonshine jug, Debbie said.
Right. That's what it made me. It just needs the 2 X's on there, or whatever it might be in the old cartoons. You know? Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I am actually going to jump ahead in the sense I am going to talk about all of the aces. because it's my show. I can do that. What I really appreciate about these aces is we have, like in this one, this is the sword, but we have at the top, we have a figure doing something in all of the aces. And so here's the batons. And so we have something at the top, something's going on. And for me, if I would say, as I'm reading with these, because I have been reading with these of late, I love how the hand is holding it up instead of actually like we would see in the traditional RWS. And so, and that, I mean, come on, a dragon trying to take a bite out of a pentacle.
Is
How
Orshi
awesome
here?
is that? Oh yeah,
Yes.
Orshi, calling Orshi.
Where is she? Calling Orshi.
This was in my
So,
favorites.
yeah. What do you particularly like about it?
I do. I love first of all, that little dragon is all in on getting this giant coin, right? Like it
Yes.
is just, a couple things come to mind with that, but it's almost like the old days when you would, you bite the gold coin to make sure it's real, to see if, you can make it's a little bit of that energy. And there's just but it just has, again, another expression of some great energy in this one.
Yeah.
And it just has all the good feels
Reminds me
for
of
such
Pete's
a simple
Dragon.
thing.
Yeah, it's great. And so I just as I was pulling out all of the aces, there's just such nice little detail in them. And as I've been reading with them, noticing that detail and seeing it in maybe show up in another card or something like that. Okay. I just have to say, my fiance is better than all of yours as spouses and, boy and girlfriends and friends, because he just handed me 2 packs of Twizzlers.
Oh,
Bless him.
So,
excellent.
Good old
yeah.
Jeffrey.
Yeah. And so there's a whole scene above it. So
Yeah.
how do you find actually reading with this deck? Calla Lizzie, okay, and I'll open this for all of us. I have been reading with this deck for about 2 weeks, done a couple of readings with it, and once I get my head away from illustrated minors, I am paying more attention to what is going on with the pips and how do they relate to the question. And that's where I came to, like, my favorite suit in this are swords, because they're so descriptive. And yes, they're swords, they're just laid out, or their pips just laid out, but they bring a little something to it. So
They do.
They bring a little something to it. What about you, Ben? Have you actually, okay, full disclosure, if you've not read with it and you've only felt it and taken it out for a drink and just enjoyed its presence, have you read with this deck?
I have to be honest, I haven't, and I specifically bought this as a deck to admire rather than read with, because I just love the old-fashioned look of this deck, and I really wanted it in my collection just to admire, really. But I am intrigued, Gerald, because I know you read with it, and I am intrigued to see how it reads, but I'm not great with pips, so it's not probably one that I would use for reads, but I love looking through the art on this. So no, in answer to the question, I haven't read with it yet.
Okay.
But yeah, it's more for collector purposes.
Brian, have you read with it yet?
I have. I started out the same as Ben, though, and I didn't really, so I didn't have much experience with Pip decks or Marseille or anything at the time. And then I started reading Marseille and started learning more about it. And then I thought, well, this isn't Marseille, but I can probably connect with it a little bit easier now. So, I did try it out, and I do like the way it reads. I think it's once you get in that mindset, it sort of flows.
Yes, and I have to actually thank, if Justin is still here, Justin Michael, Robin from Toadstool Tarot, and Chris from Elemental Cartomancy. There was a group last year, the Tarot de Marseille group, where we would practice reading with our Marseille style decks. And it was a great opportunity, great environment to hear what other people say. And actually, it really helped me. I don't know if this may, well, I'm just going to say it. It forced me to internalize the meaning of the card and get out of the way and put the attention on how are the cards interacting.
Yes.
And it's very numerological based. So numerology is a big deal with that. And so it was a blessing. It was definitely a blessing. So okay, just to get caught up, just use the majors, Ben.
Yeah, that's true, actually, Lizzie. And I'm not adverse to just using major only decks. I do like, because that's how I learned, just majors only. So, yeah, I'd agree with that.
Robin said, forget gilding. I want to see more decks of this size and shape card format. Jonathan mentioned one earlier, and I had forgotten what it was. So.
Oh, now I forgot to.
Do you guys like the size of it? Are you happy with the size? Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, I do. I actually, I don't know that I would want to see too many other decks in this size. I wouldn't necessarily want it to be the norm. But I really enjoy it for this. I think it was a really good choice.
Yeah, I agree. The artist was perfect with that. So, Ben, do you have some more cards you'd like to show?
Yeah. So, bear with me. I liked this one, which was the King of Swords. Sorry, which was this one, because I just love these little faces. These little details throughout the deck just give it a really interesting take, really. I just think it's really cute that they've got these little added. You wouldn't expect to see this, I don't think. So it's quite interesting that they've been included, and I kind of like that. And I love the outfits.
Yeah, and it's also carried out in the. So if we have the knight here, and it also just has one, so it shows rank.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah, I was like going. What was interesting about this king is there's two pointy things. We've got a dagger as well as a sword.
Yes,
good
point.
But yeah, and you're right, and just the armor. It's like, oh, okay, very, very fun. And again, I think there's a sense of humor about it. So
yeah.
And we have a similar theme here from Marseille and some others with, just the directionality. Again, this one, it's looking sort of at us or at our feet, maybe looking down a little bit, but having the sword pointed down into the side and the feet, a very relaxed position here.
And is he whistling again?
I think maybe he is.
He may be whistling.
Maybe this is the hermit,
Oh yeah.
Because the beard is actually very similar.
Brian.
So.
That deserves a fan.
I know. Look at that, Brian.
I mean,
even kings need to go on retreat.
That's right.
Yes.
So
I love that idea. I love it when you see things like that in cards. That's so cool.
Yeah, and it very well could be. That's the kingdom back there, perhaps. I don't know, but
yeah.
Robin said he's either whistling or going, oh. And Robin said Julie Peekaboo Rose trimmed her Tarot of the Moon Goddess in this bookmark shape, and I'm obsessed. I've not done that. There'd have to be a lot on a card for me to want to trim that much off, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So, but I don't say, I will never say never. And it was the Lost Tarot.
That's it. Yeah.
and it's one of and Debbie, Beth mentioned Moonlight Tarot, one of Deanne's favorite by a Ukrainian artist. That's cool. We are helping Justin. We are he is reorganizing his shelves.
Excellent.
So this is great. And Naomi said the only other deck I have this shape is the Joasa.
Oh, Jonas.
What Ben said or tried to say.
I probably butchered it.
Notice how I didn't say anything.
Yes. Notice who's smart in this room. All of us, people. All of us. Including you watching the playback. So, yeah, this was actually in my like pile, too. It's just like, okay. And, so.
Yeah.
Great. Brian, do you have something else you'd like to share?
I like the tower in this. We have, it's one of the more troubling images in the whole deck, where they didn't include any cute little birds in this one or anything. It's that lightning either striking the tower or coming out of the tower with some. But I just again, we're in a position here where you pull this card and immediately it brings to mind all of the things that the tower normally brings to mind for me. So it's a processing shortcut. I feel like, there are some decks that are, Ben, were you deck sniffing again?
I'm sorry, I was.
No, this one's
I wondered whether it might smell different being the tower, but
maybe a little singeing smell there, but
well played, Brian. Brian gets well done, Brian. You're welcome back anytime. I'm like, he got it. He got it. Okay, you were being serious about something. So.
I'm sorry.
No, it's totally fine.
Interrupted you with my deck sniffing.
Yeah, I really do feel like I like cards and artists that are able to take some major diversion from the norm, but then but still snap you back in with clear and concise messages. Especially on cards like the tower, that they didn't have to be extravagant or crazy and gory here or anything. It's just boom, I get the message, I like it, it feels right. It's just it's one that I like.
Calla Lizzie asked if it was the scent of brimstone.
You
know what? That would be an interesting thing. I don't, what is the scent of brimstone?
This is an idea. They should do a deck that smells, each card smells different, shouldn't they?
Scratch and sniff deck.
There's a lot of deck sniffers out there. I mean,
absolutely.
you could catch on.
Beth said, I like the prominence of the flag in the tower.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Sort of folly of man, politically kind of thing.
Yep.
I love that.
Here's something that I appreciate about this card when I'm reading. Oh, Beth, I think it smells like hell. Sulfur.
There you go.
Yeah. And so the thing that I like about this is the way it's done. I like how this tells me, when I see this, it tells me something is spiraling out of control and you can't stop it. It's going to happen if it hasn't already.
Yeah.
And so that's an interesting way of, when it pops into a reading, for me to go, smells, things are spiraling out of control. If it hasn't already started, get ready.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
And sometimes that's the message we need, is the understanding that has a momentum to it that we're not going to necessarily change. So what we need to do is think about how we can adapt ourselves and our situation to just work with it.
Yes. Yes. And Robin says, I can't imagine a scratch and sniff deck. Think of 78 different scents all mingled into one nasty odor. True. I hadn't really thought of that.
Maybe.
So, I have one of the other cards that I appreciated was the Chariot. And what I appreciated about it is I liked how the horses are in opposite directions. And because a lot of times for me, the Chariot, while there's a lot of spiritual meaning, somebody, the Chariot shows up, you're going really fast, you're getting lots of messages from your guides and in dreams. But if you're not in control of where you're putting your energy, you're not going to go in any direction. And this Chariot, they're stalled. You're gonna go. So yeah.
Notice the
And
shoulders.
we have that armor again. Yeah, the shoulders. I hadn't really noticed the thing. Now I'm going to be using this while I look at this deck. So, but yeah. And we have many of the traditional images. For me, I'll just be honest with you. It's a pleasant image, and it goes, oh yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
So, but that's fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've got the faces again, haven't you? On the shoulders.
Shoulder blades. Shoulders.
And he's got a
I
crown
love
on,
that.
so it does make you wonder whether that's a young king. I don't know.
Or a young queen, because come on.
Yep.
Who said royalty? I think, and I think the artist, if she or they were ever to, Anna Maria, thank you. This is lovely. And these little bits of humor is because those are like theater masks, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
You have the, what are the theater masks? They're smiling and they're sad. There's a name for that. And I can't remember what it is.
Me neither.
Somebody in chat. Somebody in chat, please type in the theater mask. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
And that's exactly, here you go, ladies and gentlemen. We have this, we have these two, we also have these two. So it's like, okay, it sort of reflects.
Yeah. Love that.
So yeah. Ben, do you have another one, or you want me to go again?
I have got one. This is one that I was perplexed by. Well, not perplexed
please.
by, but so did you want me to do that one, or do you want to do another one that you like? Okay. So I like this card. It's the it's the Lovers. And I thought this was really interesting because it doesn't feel like they're in love. You've got these two. I mean, she looks like she's like thinking, I don't want to go with you today. Thank you very much. And he's like looking not quite sure either. They just look like they're not sure about each other. So I just thought, it was an interesting depiction on there. But then you've got this little happy sun in the background. But I do think the Tarot de Marseille is kind of about choice as well, isn't it? So maybe that's his mom, and he's actually leaving his mom to go off with his lover. But there's that choice there. Maybe he doesn't want to leave his mom, and
that's a lot of times what is referenced in that. Yes.
Yeah. So it could be seen as that context.
And I have to say that Tarot de Marseille, the idea of choice, I didn't know that until about 1.5 years ago. And I'm like going, okay, so I keep that in mind. It's about choice.
And what gets me, what I oftentimes what I like in the Lovers is a sense of duality.
Yes.
So more than choice, even for me, it's about thinking about duality in everything we do. So yes, choice often is a duality. There's two options ahead of you, but also sometimes we exist in a duality, and we have we're occupying two spaces at once. And how do we deal with that? Do we deny half of ourselves and acknowledge the other half and so on, or do we find a way to be at peace with being two ways at the same time?
Well said. And we have some answers. See if I can embiggen my stuff so I can see it. Okay, and Beth apparently has a sulfur allergy. So to all of you in La Forza, is the animal a dog or is a dog or a bear? Which one is that?
It's So it's the strength card, and the it does have a very dog-like sort of mouth and snout, but I can
Oh,
see
yeah.
where you would get the idea of a bear. I mean, those are some big forearms or whatever you would call them.
Yeah.
But then you have a long tail. Yeah, it's a bit of a confusing animal, and maybe it's intended to be that way.
And what I would say to that bear or, animal or lion or whatever, I'm not going to be wanting to wrestle with it. So count me out. Not going to be able to do that. So, Beth said I'm allergic to sulfur. I guess hell is going to be a double whammy for me. And Calla Lizzie said, yeah, but you'll be with all of us, so it'll be fun. You don't have any allergies when you're dead. So, and Robin said that the Lovers reminds him of tourists here in the city. Please make way on the sidewalk. What are you, attached at the hip? Okay, and we have Beth. Thank you, and it's actually ends in an E, that first one. So, and so, and you notice none of us tried to pronounce that.
Nope.
So, have all of you even had a second thought of rounding the corners?
Oh
No, I would not round these corners. I wouldn't.
No.
It would. No.
It would take out the vintageness of it, I think, for me.
Yep.
Yeah. No. Okay. I have to take a drink after seeing that. I can't. No. I mean, I'm like, oh my god. Woo. Some decks I do, but something like this, and again, I own this. This is artwork. This is 78 little pieces of artwork. I can do whatever I want to it. I don't think I would want to do that.
No.
So.
And for anybody wondering the price, if they haven't clicked on that link yet, it is $75 US for the current printing, which is a bit of a bargain over what you would pay in the secondary market. I can speak from experience.
Yes. So did you order your second copy, your archival backup yet?
I've been so busy that since I got that email announcement, and but that's I think that's my plan for this evening.
Yeah. And Justin Michael brings up a very good choice between vice and virtue.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always link the Lovers and the Devil as well, and I almost think that these two are the same people here, and it's like they're more closer together in the Devil card, aren't they, than they are here.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I do think this is the same person because I think she's blonde. I don't know. But yeah.
You know what I would love to see?
It's a duo.
Oh, thanks, Naomi. Yeah, you're welcome for that. I would actually love to see some gold. Ooh, wait a minute, where'd everybody go? I'd love to see some. I would be thrilled to see some gold or metallic or something like that. So I don't know. Oh man, sorry, my thing is acting up. So anyhow, there you go.
Yeah.
But I do have to say, the artist, where we are. I mean, the art, the attire is very consistent. We are in a place. We are in a very specific time for that.
Yeah.
So, all right. Brian, do you have another one?
The Magician.
Oh, yes.
And we again have the lamniscate at the top, which we see in some others, like the Strength, and of course, and but I do like the tools and the robe, and just again, we're conveying quite a lot here with little. But nice stash too, by the way.
Oh,
yeah. It's a good stash.
Yeah.
Gerald, what were you doing back there?
Yeah, can you give us some insight on what was happening?
Yeah.
I'm not at liberty to discuss that. I'm under
You're
contract.
a time traveler, aren't you? I
Understood.
always knew you were.
Yeah. Yeah. Boom. Okay, serious question from Beth. Serious question. If we link the Lovers with the Devil, as many of us do, does that mean they have made the wrong or all too human choice?
or maybe we could even say inevitable, because we are human, and we've attached, as humans, we attach so much pressure to those choices as the lovers that that we almost always put ourselves in that devil position.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
I don't know.
agree.
I actually think part of the reason that I link them is because the 15 reduces to 6.
Mhm.
So you have
Yeah,
double lovers. And I think within any good relationship, it starts off being one thing, and then the honeymoon period is over, and then then
yeah,
you discover the things that you didn't know about each other
yeah,
there. And in healthy relationships, these things do not stop. They actually grow, evolve, and
Yeah.
we sort them out. We come back
yeah,
over to this. And so I feel very much, Deep Thoughts by Gerald. I think it's very much a cyclical process, because
Mhm.
if you're looking at the devil as the things that are hidden or the things that are hard to look at, when you feel safe with a lover or a companion, someone who supports you, it's okay to be willing to look at the darker things, the things
Mhm.
that you may
yeah,
not like. And invariably, some of the you suddenly get something shows up and you go, well, and then you have somebody who helps manage that in you,
yeah,
so it doesn't take over. So
And I like how they're looking at each other, looking toward
mhm,
each other. So there's really um, no change in their focus and an understanding of their connection here. And how could
yes,
you not be staring at that and thinking, what am I going to do about that? Well,
yeah,
they're looking to each other,
yeah.
mhm,
which says something.
it's nice.
I like to see it as a bit of a yin and a yang card, the good and the bad, and I always think that
Mhm.
you can't experience the good without having first experienced the bad.
You have to have them both. Yeah.
You do, yeah. So I kind of like that duality in there. Yeah.
Mm,
Ooh, we're getting deep. I
we
like
are.
it.
And Beth has said, spoken like a man and a healthy relationship. Kudos, Gerald. I'm
Yeah.
like, there's the devil. F it. Well, sometimes I do that. It's
What's your
like,
secret?
it's like, yeah. I love how so many of these characters' expressions look like fear,
Yeah.
awe, and surprise. Yeah, that's
Yep.
true.
And done with so few lines. That's that feels like such a true artist that can draw
Yeah,
just a couple of very simple lines and convey a whole lot of emotion.
you got
Yeah.
it. You really got it. That's a skilled artist. Well, after that, I want to show the sun.
Hmm.
Speaking of expression, I mean, come
Yeah.
on, there's surprise. What is it? It's like, oh, what's going on? Yay, look at that. It's just this one, it makes me giggle,
Yeah,
when
me
I
too.
see it. It's a happy little card. And the face in the sun doesn't bother me.
It's very subtle.
So
So
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sorry, guys. I'm so slow at finding the cards. There we go.
and Beth said, yes, Brian, so true. So she agreed with you.
thanks, Beth.
And it is a cute little card. So but yeah.
Cheers.
Um all right, Ben, do you have other cards?
No, do you know, guys? I think we've covered a lot of them. The only other one that I wanted to mention was the Queen of Pentacles.
Mm,
I thought this was interesting because on the RWS, she's obviously quite nurturing that pentacle, and she's got it on her lap, I
yes.
think, if I remember rightly. Whereas here, she's holding it away, and I think she's obviously holding it away from the dog here.
She's trying to keep the
But
dog away from it. This is not
yeah,
a play toy.
yeah. So it was just an interesting depiction, I thought, and I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like how, when I think about that, Ben, and she's holding it up.
Yeah.
So perhaps she's, if I were to look at this in a reading, perhaps she's offering it up to help
Yeah.
someone, to help the next card.
Yeah.
What would be the next thing?
Right.
And or she's looking into it to go, how can I use my fortune
Yeah.
to be of assistance? Or depending upon the reading, okay, this money controls me, what does it want me to do?
Mhm.
So,
And for contrast, if we look at the king doing much the same thing in terms of holding it up, but look at the expression on the king's face versus the expression on the queen's face. The king is actually looking at it. So it's almost revering those earthly treasures, or
mhm,
just
Yeah.
almost captivated by that, in a way that the queen is just sort of, oh yeah, there's this thing.
mhm,
It's completely
yeah,
different. The queen is looking at us. So I
yeah.
find that
Yeah.
interesting.
The Queen of Pentacles was almost showing off the pentacle.
Hmm.
Plus, it's a domesticated dog possession rather than a wild
Mm.
rabbit. Good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
And Robin mentioned,
Yeah.
and I perhaps they're trying to hypnotize us with the spinning wheel.
Right.
So
Wheel of
um,
Fortunes.
I'll have to do
she's
one of my little
looking.
animations and make it rotate.
Yes. Yes.
Ooh,
That'd be
yeah,
cool. Love that.
yeah. She's looking face forward where the queen, or she's looking face forward where the queen is usually looking at the pentacle.
Hmm.
So,
Is
and see,
that
and
king
this is
king
what.
whistling again? They're all whistling, aren't they? These men in the cards.
It does look like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It
Sorry,
does.
Gerald. I interrupted you there.
It's all right. I'm used to it.
Oh,
Shade.
That's
It's all
why I
right.
keep
I will
having
let
him
him off
back.
because I keep giving him shade lately. And it's
That's all right.
terrible.
That's all right. Brian, did you have other things that you'd like to share?
well, one thing I wanted to bring up too is the Fool. I kind of held it on the side. I wasn't sure if it would end up being on anybody's list, but not necessarily as a favorite per se, but it just is a fun, I think, a fun depiction. You have that single flower, and you have the just kind of almost a
Yeah.
carefree art style here too.
Mm-hmm.
The dog that kind of looks like a cross between a dog and a cat, and there's no cliff, there's no, there's nothing like that, but you still get that
Mm,
sense that this is somebody just you know
Yeah.
just jumping off to the next thing, and not really
yeah.
bogged
And
down,
halfway through the journey turns into the hermit.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, as well, this tree is almost like it's not
Hmm.
fully grown yet. So it's kind of
Right.
like,
yeah.
starting out, isn't it?
Yeah,
Which I think helps symbolize that it's the start of something.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Maybe.
Yeah. And Beth would like to see what the Nine of Pence looks like.
Hmm.
And it looks like this.
And I love these little like flowers that have come into full bloom, which is kind of what the
Yes.
the RWS is like. She's behind a load
Hmm.
of blooming flowers, isn't she? So
Mhm.
that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
it's great
one
how
of the
this. Go ahead.
you first go.
I was
Yeah.
just going to say it's nice how the symbols on the coins are adapted throughout, so they change.
Yeah.
And so, to Ben's point, you can get some of the different ideas of meaning just from how
Mhm.
those are filled out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Ben just sniffed his deck again.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No apology necessary. We're all
It's
friends
just
here.
so nice.
I'll just join you.
Yeah. It's okay, everybody.
Yep.
Deck sniffers welcome here.
Yep.
And one of the things I wanted to talk, my favorite suit in this deck has to be the swords, and I'm going to
Yeah.
pull out some of them the 3 of swords, we don't have a heart, but what we have are 2 swords that are crossed, and then a third one just kind of like disrupts it. And I like that. It's a very nice description, and I believe I think this is a lot of times how we have, but yeah, and we've got what is that? Is that a lion up top?
Yeah, it's almost, it has the feel of a griffin almost, and
Uh-huh.
a lion, and yeah.
Yes, Robin, here's the backs. And so I also pulled out, here's the 5. Again, we have this 5th sword, slabbed into the middle there. And then we have this at the top. So I don't know if they're playing pool or there's that's the symbol. So
there's a lot of symbology, isn't there, actually, in this deck?
Mm-hmm.
It feels.
And again, here's the 7, where we have things that are, 6 of them are lined up, and then we have the 7th one jammed across. Is that going to disrupt the balance of those, or what's it going to do?
Yeah.
And then we have the 10, where again the 8 are balanced, but then we have them crossed. So is it disrupting the balance, or is it offering balance? Well, I should be doing it this way. Here we go. Here's the 9, and then we have the 10. And Calla Lizzie, hold on just a second. The other aces, or the other swords. So, I mean, and they build nicely.
Yeah.
So.
I wonder if any of those symbols at the top, and I'd have to look a little closer at this suit too, but we end at the 10s with a knight's helmet.
Yeah, I thought that was
Is that
strange.
yeah, and I wonder if that's is that a sense of completion? Is that because you get to that point where you're, I don't know. It's different.
Point.
It's so different than what we would expect in other decks, but
yeah.
I mean, you'd want that armor on, wouldn't you, if you with the 10 swords?
Yeah.
I wonder if it's like a protection thing.
And I think one of the I always have trouble reading the difference between batons and swords in the Tarot de Marseille. And I also struggled here. It's like, this is the 10 of swords, but I kept going, well, it's the 5, and they're just really long, and they're not.
Isn't that the batons, Gerald? I thought that was the batons.
Batons, the wands, yes.
Yeah.
The wands. Apologies. So.
No, you're right. It does look like the 5, doesn't it?
So it was just, and it was me, and I counted, and and then I looked at the bottom, like, oh, that is 10 in Italian. So,
hi, Jay.
Viviani is here. Jay, hello, Jay. Jay, this is Brian. Jay, Herc 213. So yeah. So, okay, we are at 1 hour and 20 minutes. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Are there other things that you, okay, and everybody knows this, purchase responsibly, know your limits. Links to the artist website is linked below. Also to Ben and Brian's channel. Please like and subscribe. It's cheap, it's easy, and it's free. And it just lets everybody know you like it. I as somebody who has read with this, I'm pretty pleased with it. It's quite nice. Yeah. And you're right. It's like, oh, here, let me put these all together so you can see how thick the deck is. It's a pretty thick deck. So, and but again, and it's handmade, people. I mean, it's like that thrills me to no end too, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
It's like Oh my gosh, somebody is using, yeah, so it's a new deck, newly created images, but still, it's like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Anything either of you would like to add about this deck before I ask you what you have coming up on your channel?
We didn't really go over any cards that were kind of flops for us, but if you have
Do you
any,
have
if
one?
either of you have any quick hits, I have one that is for me. I still like the art, but the Wheel of Fortune for me just doesn't. It's not quite there. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
I like the simplicity about a lot of the other images in this deck, but for me, this one just doesn't. It doesn't hit it. So
No, and I feel a bit naive because I'm not really sure what the creatures are here.
maybe that's part of it too for me. But
Yeah,
it's just
yeah, definitely, Brian. I'm the same. Yeah, it was one of those cards that you go, oh,
right.
isn't
Yeah,
it? When you
exactly.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, I had the same feeling actually with that one.
I actually did have a card, and of course it. Oh, by the way, there's Temperance, Rosemary, if you're still watching. And now I cannot find. Yeah, here you go. Yeah, Temperance.
The expression.
Yeah,
Just, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that, isn't it?
I think the only one that I really had with that was the Ten of Batons.
Yep.
Where it was like, I can't read that one. It's
Yeah,
yeah.
I get that.
So
one.
that's all right. So, Brian, what do you have coming up in your channel?
Well, I mean, I was sort of like on a unplanned hiatus there for a little while. So it's been maybe a little over a week since I put something out. So I'm ready to do a few things. I have a couple of walkthroughs I want to do, but I'd also like to get back onto my tarot nerd outs, the the card meanings. So
yes.
I'm enjoying going through that, and so I think I'll have another episode of that coming up very soon. And really, I love this live format. I think I'd like to do more lives too. So,
well, you can host, or I'm happy to have you back. So
both be great to take turns. Okay. Yep, that'd be fun. Yep.
I've got an idea for something that we'll talk about after.
Excellent.
But everybody needs to like and subscribe so that they can find out about that. So, Ben, what do you've got coming up?
Well, I'm taking a break at the moment from my channel, so I'm not creating any videos on there at the moment, but I am slowly coming back to doing lives once a week, although I have done 2 this week. So yeah, not sticking to my boundaries, guys. But yeah, I have got something coming up next week on someone's channel, and I'm not even sure I'm supposed to say actually, so I will keep it a mystery. But
on
yeah,
Richie's channel.
Yes, how did you know?
Dun, dun,
because I will
dun.
be there as well.
There
We'll
we
talk
go.
about it.
My
Yeah.
three of three,
Okay.
my favorite trio of YouTube lives, I think, is the three of you just doing your thing. So that'll be fun.
Just wait until we make it, a 5-some and or 4-some and have you there.
Please do.
Yeah,
we'll have to have.
I am there.
We'll have
Definitely.
to have hats. We'll have to have.
I
hats.
love it. Brian fits in very well.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah. I have Rosemary from Good Journeys Tarot on my channel tomorrow. It's an hour earlier than normal. And this is what happens. I found out that Rosemary was on vacation, and I'm going to be royalty tomorrow because I'm having a new crown created in my mouth, not on my head. And I was like going, okay, so Rosemary is actually coming on. We're going to be talking about tarot. She says she loves to talk about tarot. I'm pretty fond of it myself. And we're talking about her 78 cards in 78 weeks. And Tuesday, Back and Forth with Jamie and Gerald at its usual time is on.
Excellent.
And this is the first one where we have a guest asking us questions. And it's April from Tarot and Witchery. So please plan on joining that. So it should be a good time. That said, I love the nerd outs, Brian.
Oh,
I was at a metaphysical store recently talking tarot to the owner, and she says, "Oh, you're such a nerd."
Yes, Nerd Nation.
Perfect. Nerd Nation. Oh, Calla Lizzie has said, and this is where I've done something. The Three Musketeers or the Three Stooges.
I love that.
Or it could be the Three Musky Stooges.
Yeah.
I mean, I
the Three Bearded Stooges.
Go back to that.
Yeah.
The Three Wise Men.
The Three Wise Men.
There we go.
All right. All right. Everyone, thanks so very much. And again, please remember to like and subscribe, because when you do that, it just lets us know that you like it, and you'll be notified when we go live for other things. I'm trying to find the overlay so that I can go out. I'm not going to show that video of you, Ben. So
one of my favorite videos, I gotta say.
Well, is it really? Okay. Well, wait a minute. See, I did something wrong with my thing. So, all right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.